much a lot in a short period of time. You want to start trying it yourself or going out into that industry. The way he's advertising it though is way too. There's clips of him walking around with the journal in Paris fashion. Oh, right. I'm not thinking. I'm not sure why he does it or if he like iceberg. He's kind of busted up by his headphones. Like, why you have
Wait, I started? Oh, oh, I thought I saved it. Bruh. I thought I kind of saved it. I thought I saved. Oh, I did not even. Yeah, I did not mean. You know what? You know what? It's okay. It's okay. We'll not linger on to it because I'll get started to it right away. Oops. Wait, did I? Oh, okay, so I did start it. Fuck no. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I shaved. I shaved. I shaved everyone. I shaved. Hell no. I won't get copyrighted.
no, they just look today. You can use their. No, you're strong. Get on my ass for wearing these wired headphones. Look back the past 4 years. I've been wearing these in every single video the past 4 years. All right, I'm not thinking. ID does it, or if he tries to do it subtly so people don't notice much. But in 2026, with all the forms of social media we got, people are gonna be able to tell when you're fake. I do believe though that even with all these performative shenanigans, he actually got into fashion and likes it. You can tell his fashion game has changed a lot in the past couple of years. Sure, people will say that this whole thing is fake or grift because it happened so soon. It can happen to anyone with anything though. Sometimes you get into something and like it so much a lot in a short period of time. You want to start trying it yourself or going out into that industry. The way he's advertising it though is way too. There's clips of him walking around with the journal in Paris Fashion Week, and it looked like he was protecting an ancient scripture that had burned down with vaporized half.
You want the whole grifting thing and like the performative male is something I want to talk about, but like I'm gonna save that for another stream. For now, I'm more focused on getting more with the iceberg. I know I just wait a little bit. I just want to see a little bit of that. That's Tommy NFT. When rebranding fails, Kai Cenat video, which he released just today. So, if you guys want to check him out, um, yeah, let's search up Tommy NFT and you'll find him there. You'll find the video that he recently released, and that was the video I was watching. But yeah, shout out to Tommy NFT. He's a pretty chill dude. You guys should. What the fuck is this? You guys saw what was happening. I wish if I had it like this. If you guys saw what was happening, it was like, I'm getting coded, I'm getting hacked. Oh, that's real weird what was going on. Anyways, anyways. Alright, I'm back. We're here to continue on the Godzilla and Kong iceberg that I made. So far, in my last video, well, so far in my last video, I was only able to get through the first one. Yeah, we only got through the first one. So wait, let's put it right up here. Okay, you guys should be able to see. But yeah, so far we were able to get to the first one, and as I said, I was gonna try and do it when I had more energy. It was pretty late, so I'm gonna try and get as far as I can for this one because I do have a dentist appointment. So there's that. Okay. Overall, though, yeah. if you guys want, the first part um is gonna be on my channel. Before I'll try and see if I don't forget to include the link to that first part, but might as well just make a playlist, right? But yeah, we got through the first one. The basic knowledge one. It's kind of the basic knowledge of everything in the sky. So there's that. I feel like if I were, I would need to make a completely new one because I do have the image file. I just do not have the actual file to edit it. All right. So I don't have it. I'm kind of banked. But yeah, this is part one. All right. We're gonna try and get further. At least, I mean, seeing how many there is, at least to this one. um, at least to section 3. So, oh damn, I got put in the borders. Dude, there's like two sides which I can barely see unless you can make it out. But yeah, yeah, I'm gonna try and get as far as this one. I feel like these two set. I feel like the tip of the iceberg. It's kind of the same thing. It's pretty much the same thing. All right, it's the same thing as the first one. Tip of the iceberg is the first is yeah. It's basically like the first one where it's kind of where, but except it's not basic knowledge. I mean, you do have moments where it's like it's knowledge that a lot of people, it's stuff that a lot of people know, but there's like certain things in it that like some people may not know, unless if you've seen it. But that's what it is. But that's what the tip of the iceberg usually is. It's where it's like you start kind of you slowly dip your you slowly dip your toes into the waters, right? Into the cold waters before we finally get down to the surface. Dip the whole body into the surface, all right? So yeah. This is what usually the tip of the iceberg is. It's the same thing as the surface as a sky, but there's like some things that people may not know about. But yeah, or just things, or really from in my case for this one, it's just things that I just decided to include because they do have a unique premise. All right, so yeah, we're gonna be moving on to the tip of the iceberg. All right, the first one that I have right here is Gigan. Um, Gigan is one of is just like some of Godzilla, just like the ones mentioned in here. All right. Gigan is also really Gigan is also another well-known monster. Who, in my opinion, actually has a lot of personality. Right. He is basically like this weird cyborg alien creature. Um, yeah. He's basically this weird cyborg alien creature. It is unknown if he's completely organic or if it's like or if it's like he's organic, but he has like certain stuff that still makes him consider a cyborg, you know, or if he's completely robotic. But it's still unknown what kind of creature because people have theorized that Gigan is basically something alien. Right, he might have not been created by the aliens. He might have actually been a creature that the Izilians took and gave him all these parts, right? But this is how Gigan looks like in the original. He has gold. He has green skin, some gold scales. He has fins on the back. Um, he's going. They gave him a little bit of a side of what's his name? They gave him like with the visor right there. It kind of makes him look like Cyclops from the X-Men. Like they gave him that look right there. But I think hold up, hold up. When was I keep forgetting his name, but he's definitely one of the main people you follow in X-Men. And then one was Cyclops, September 1963, and Gigan was from 1970s, I think. 1963, Godzilla versus Gigan was 1972. Oh, so yeah. The visor does kind of make him resemble does I mean, I doubt it. I doubt they took inspiration from Cyclops, but I'm just pointing it out there that he does that this eye right here that they gave him, this visor kind of makes him look like Cyclops, you know? But yeah, he's like this mantis alien like creature. He has a metal he has metal arms or scythes similar to a mantis's. He has fins, which I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. He has mandibles, two mandibles on the sides, which are similar to insects, and he has a beak and it's really weird. It's really his design is really weird, but it's pretty unique. All right. Actually, I don't think it's weird. I just think it's cool, in my opinion. I think the OG design and the 2004 design are pretty cool. Um, he was introduced, and as you guys saw, he was introduced in Godzilla versus Gigan back in 1972. Um, he's basically like this alien creature about sent by the Zillions. He's similar to Ghidorah, and and the crazy thing is that he has he just like I know that in the Showa era they do give a lot of the monsters personality, but Gigan has possibly the most personality out of all the characters. He has more of like this arrogant personality. All right, like he has a cocky attitude. It's like, yeah, I succeed, ah ha 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 ha, ah ha ha ha, Godzilla, you got taken down by me, and it's like, boom, he gets blasted. All right, he's like, ah, no, and then he just runs away. He's a coward, but he's a he's more of a. It's like it's really weird. He is a coward because he usually does flee. He usually be the first one to try and flee, but but he's also like the one to actually get stuff done. He's usually the one to like try and go for it. Like he's very confident. He's a little too confident, and that's what leads to his downfall. All right. Um. Yeah, like that's what I love about Gigan. It's just his personality, his arrogant personality that leads to his downfall. What's cool is that he also has this buzz saw inside of him. The thing is, I'm not sure if it's built inside of him or if it's like going so fast. If it moves up and down so fast that it actually looks like it's spinning, even though maybe it's not spinning. I don't know. It's really weird. The buzzsaw thing is really weird, but I just think it's really just that moving up and down so fast that it's like I don't know. These aliens were on something designing him. I definitely think he's an organic cyborg. But yeah, he's able to fly. He's able to fly. That's something that's cool. He's also able to shoot out he's also able to shoot out laser beams from his eye and this little middle section in his eye, like this middle section right up here. Have you guys seen my pointer? Yeah, it's like right up there. There's like a third eye. It's almost like the third eye for him. And from there, he's able to shoot out laser beams. Although I think from what I hear, Gigan wasn't able to do that until later, or until his modified 2004 design. I think it's because of during the times the effects they weren't. No, but I think he was able to because of his guy was he able to shoot lasers. I'm actually searching all this up. Yeah, so it was so he will so there were plans to include that he was able to shoot out lasers from his eyes, but because of the effects during that time, they weren't able to do it. But they later were able to but they were later able to get him to do it. I think in Final Wars was the first time he was able to shoot out lasers. But that's what they want to do. And all he just really does is he really just does melee attacks and attacks from the sky. Although I could be wrong, he might have been able. Actually, no, I think he was able to. But yeah, he has such a cool design. The modified or the 2004 version, they actually go for a more cyborg or actually a more robotic look for him. His sides are they're actually unlike the other ones where they look like yeah they're part of him. These ones look like they were implemented to him, right? He had instead of his green and yellow colors, they gave him a metal. They gave him a dark grayish color for his body. In some parts, it does look blue, which I would not blame you guys. It does look blue. Hold on, let me just find visual art. Yeah, he's like, depending on what it is, it does appear to be blue, but it's really dark. Um, in this one, they were able to give him the laser eyes. He's still able to fly. His buzzsaw, because of the body, it's like, how does that even work? Still, how does that even work? I think, but it was aliens that sent him, so it's like they might have the technology to make it possible. Maybe they just fold in until it's like a tractor in some way. They also give him grappling hooks, which he tried using on Godzilla, but he forgot he's able to shoot fire. He's able to shoot the atomic breath, and that's when it leads to him getting destroyed, getting his head melted off. But other than that, this design was actually a lot more sleeker. Just like many of the other monsters in Godzilla Final Wars, a lot of his design was definitely a lot more sleeker. Um, and they also gave him like some sort of his tail. It's also like a grappler, which he uses on Mothra to drag her against the ground. And later on in the movie, after getting blasted, the Zillions send him out again to go out to fight Godzilla and, with Kaiser, with Monster X, and the Zillions gave him buzzsaws, twin buzzsaws, to help. And I guess from the looks of it, also wait, what did he start it? Wait, because some of that I think I'm wrong. I think I might be wrong. I think I might be wrong, but in the 2004 design, before his modified upgrade, oh, so yeah, they do. That tip right there, it's plain, but once he's modified, it's like a blade. Like, what is that supposed to do? What is that supposed to do? Like, bam! Like, is he supposed to headbutt? He doesn't even headbutt in the movie, but I'm pretty sure there's reasons. Oh yeah, that's unique. I'm looking at his, I'm like, damn, they do a lot more with his modification. Just give him more spikes. But yeah, modified Gigan, um, he does have a fight with Mothra, but he ends up getting destroyed. But no, and this is the craziest thing. Like, I love what they did. They included the fact that he's arrogant, he's cocky, he's way too overconfident. And that's where it leads to him getting killed by Mothra, his defeat in 2004 in Final Wars, where he thinks he blasts Mothra, and he turns he blasts Mothra. There's another thing where he's able to like shoot out two smaller buzzsaws, and he thinks that he destroyed Mothra. He turns around, he's like, "Yeah, I'm a pose. I'm a order farm," and then that's when boom. he forgets he shot him out, and they came back to him and cut his head off. And then Mothra finished him off by just like he was on fire. Bam! Like she goes straight towards him, and then they both die. It's like, dude, he got way too overcon. Like that moment tells you how arrogant he really is, and it's crazy because it's like he has the like despite that being his personality, that feels so much like his personality, him being too overconfident that it ends up leading to his downfall. Eventually though, he does get another Gemstone Productions, animations, the people that have been animating the new Godzilla shorts. um They did release a short like a few years ago where Gemstone Godzilla is fighting against Gigan Rex, or a bunch of these Gigans which retain their, yeah, like they look like, is this the word? No. They look like this. All right, they're actually a lot fatter, and there's actually more of them. All right, they retain their original colors, and at the same time, they're led by this thing right here, named Gigan Rex, who instead has red and hat, and her, I think its buzzsaws are able to, or the scythes turn into whips, which is pretty cool. Um, which this one I'm actually, I really like the design. It does give them more an alien-like approach, you know. I think the design is cool. Of course, my favorite, it's gotta. I'll be honest with you. I think my favorite's gotta be the Final Wars one. I like what they did with it. Like the original one, I like it too because of how chubby he is. But like the 2004 one, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to put it like same level as the original. This one, I think it's cool. I think it's cool, but I'm not too much of a fan of it, to be honest. But I think it's a cool design though. No hate though. No hate. It's actually a really cool design. I love how much more alien it looks. Um, what else was I gonna mention? I was gonna mention something else about Gigan, but I think that's really it. Other than that though, he's become a reoccurring villain for Godzilla. He's mostly been teamed up with Megalon. He or no, he mostly teams up with Ghidorah. He did have this one in Godzilla versus Megalon. He did team up with him. Um, and it's kind of funny because I love their interactions. Like like Gigan and Megalon. They both do like little high fives. What is it? Ghidorah and hold up, I gotta show you. Gigan and Ghidorah, they do a high five. Like it's funny. Like it's cute. Like look at this right here. He goes over, be like, yeah. Like look at this. That's how. Like it's adorable. It's adorable in my opinion. I really love it. All right. This, but and good thing I started off with Gigan because this also leads into the next one, which I want to bring up, is that Gigan is actually the very first monster to have ever made Godzilla bleed, and I think it was in his own movie. Yeah, it was in, yeah, I think it was in his own movie. Um, like like there are people out there that do argue that, oh no, it was Hedorah that made Godzilla bleed, but all she did was burn off his skin. Gigan was the first monster to actually draw blood, like make him bleed on screen. Like no acidic, no blended in with the acid or anything like that. It's legit bleed. Um, I think it was in his solo film. Yeah, I think it was in it like I think it was in Godzilla vs. Gigan. If not, then it was in Godzilla vs. Megalon. But I know damn well it might have been Godzilla vs. Gigan. Make Godzilla bleed. Because it's actually a pretty sad one. Alright. Yeah, like yeah, so in his own movie, and it's a pretty brutal one because I think he goes for the eye or the no, he goes for his shoulder. Oh, so I did have the movie. That explains why I know about that scene. Damn, I lost that VHS tape. No. Oy. Yeah, like there are people that argue that
but
it
not
was
the first. The first kaiju to make Godzilla bleed was 1 year before, that being Hedorah. Well, Godzilla just got his hand dissolved. He didn't actually bleed. Yeah, I see what you mean. You're still wrong. If you go to a few very specific parts of the movie, you'll see this. Red. That right there is blood.
maybe.
I'm not denying Gigan makes
Oh,
Godzilla bleed. We are denying Hedorah his crown. As
that's why. That's why Fedora's. Yeah, like that right there. It's like it's a. The thing is, I feel like I believe it though. That had. So I feel like that may. But it's like you don't really see it. That's the thing. That's why I included it because I thought, oh, it was true. That's when it's brought up. Wait. Let me just search that up. Godzilla versus Hedorah. Godzilla bleeding. Let me see because he Brian that and that did not like in a way it didn't show. Ah, but you do see it though. Ah, what the hell is this? Man. Yeah, so was he really? It was me insignificant and memorable. The first instance. Godzilla's bleeding is a signet. But that's a problem. What I'm saying, it's like I think you do see. Oh, I see a picture of it. Much better, high quality picture. I think is that. I think he was bleeding. I gotta look for a clip of that. I got because then I could modify what I was bleeding. But yeah, you do see it though. You do see it, but it might have been edited. But I want to see it for myself, so I can go back and edit it. But either way, though, Geigen, when you actually do watch it, though, when you like maybe, yeah, it does make sense though. Yeah. Either way, though, um, that does lead into what I said. Geigen is the first to make Godzilla bleed. That was something that you do know. That's something that yeah, like the moment you see get hit, like it's like drawing blood, making him. s- It's such a brutal moment. It's like him and Anguirus are getting attacked by Ghidorah and Gigan, and at some moment, Gigan just goes over, cuts his shoulder, and when you just see it squirt, and you just see it come out, like squirt out. It's like holy crap! But it's like in Hedorah, the reason why I would say why I may have not noticed is because it really does blend in my opinion. I think it really does blend in. I don't know. Either way, that's what I just want to bring up. Just a short thing I want to try and do. Next one is Mothra, Rodan, and Anguirus. These three, I forgot why I put these, but I think it's mostly because these three are in a way considered to be Godzilla's allies. All right, Rodan and Anguirus. I mean, I mean, Rodan and Anguirus. They may have fought. Like I think I did bring up in that last part. Rodan and Anguirus did fight Godzilla in Final Wars, but the reason why they fought was because they were being mind controlled. So Yeah. Um. Rodan and Godzilla did fight in Ghidorah's a three-headed monster. I think after that they just became allies. Anguirus. After um after Godzilla. Oh, I forgot. I forgot the name. What was the sequel? God. Oh my god. I swear if you I gotta watch this movie, you want Godzilla Raids Again. Know what? I gotta buy this movie. I gotta buy Godzilla Raids Again. I don't care if it's on VHS or on DVD. I gotta buy it. I gotta buy it because I gotta really like watch that movie to remember it. But yeah, Angus was basically Godzilla's ally. After Godzilla Raids Again, after they fought each other, they ended up becoming complete allies. Um, Rodan and Godzilla, I mean, same thing. I don't think I've seen a movie where they do fight. Usually, what I've seen was that they would just meet each other, and they would just team up out of nowhere. Um, Godzilla and Mechagodzilla 2 versus Mechagodzilla 2, I definitely know they became allies, and Rodan did help Godzilla by giving him his life force. Mothra though, it's a real complicated situation because Godzilla and Mothra, the thing is they both are kind of like enemies. Godzilla sees Mothra as like this giant red. So red. Cheese Danish does sound good though. It looked good, but I was like, it looked good, but it also did not look. It looked good, but it did not look too good. I was like, what is cheese Danish? It is cream cheese Danish. So. How you want wait this? You want okay? I'm gonna eat it later. All right. You know what? I'm gonna eat it. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna eat it later. I'm gonna eat it after this. I'm gonna eat it after this. I'm trying to make this quick, or not very quick, but like still. Where was that? Oh, right here. Okay. But yeah, as I was saying, Mothra and Godzilla really do have a complicated thing. I mean, it's really bad. They're both um enemies, really. Um, but I think there were a few times where she wasn't gonna do anything because I think she just it's very weird. It's very weird between Mothra and Godzilla. Although they are still enemies. They were still enemies in at most of the time in the original movies, but there were I think there were a few moments where I think especially in Ghidorah's three-headed monster where she did have to become an ally to him. Um Eventually though in the monsterverse she did end up becoming a complete ally to him. So where is that? Um but yeah, Moffat, Rodan, and Ingears. I think I just included because it was to basically say yeah these three are Godzilla's allies. Next one is the MonsterVerse. The MonsterVerse it started origin the MonsterVerse started with Godzilla 2014. At first, 2014 Godzilla wasn't supposed to be like part of it. Wasn't supposed to be the start of a universe. But actually, Kong Skull Island was actually now I think about it. It's because Godzilla 2014 wasn't supposed to. It's because originally, you know what? First, let me just bring up what the MonsterVerse is. It's basically Legendary's um it's basically Legendary's version of the Avengers. I hate comparing it, but it's basically that. It's it's not really Nick Fury style, but it's like, but it's it the MonsterVerse is. Hold up, I got to bring mine together. Holy crap. Hmm. Okay. Okay. So the MonsterVerse is this universe that Legendary and Warner Bros. Created that features Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, Ghidorah, and Kong. Along, it includes them, but it also includes an assortment of various original monsters like Methuselah. Some of the well-known ones are Methuselah, Behemoth, Zilla, and what's her name? What's her name? I can't believe it killed her off. And it's like this serpent. It's supposed to be. It's not Manda, but people are like, yeah, that's Manda. What's her name? What's her name? This is Nashimo. Oh, shoot. You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna call her. It's like the thing is, she was killed. It's like this serpent monster that lives in the Arctic, and it's like, oh no, it's really sad because they killed her off so quick. It was like, oh come on, and I can't believe I forgot her name too. I swear, it's like, brain fart. I swear. You know what? I'm gonna just say MonsterVerse Manda. All right, let me just put it at that. Maybe I'll get Hiamat. Okay, there it is. I swear they did not need to do her so dirty. Okay, either way though, the MonsterVerse, as I said, it includes Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and Kong, but and also Ghidorah, but he got killed off in King of the Monsters. There was also their version of Mechagodzilla, which also got killed off. Um, but the MonsterVerse doesn't isn't just including like some of the monsters from Kong and Godzilla films. It's also including it's including a variety of original monsters like the Warbats, Behemoth, Methuselah, Tiamat, Scylla, um Camazotz, who I think was featured in one of the Kong comics, but has yet to appear in official movies. It's this universe, all right. Originally, it was it kind of did get kicked. It started with Godzilla 2014, but it officially got kicked off with Kong Skull Island, which officially kicked off the entire MonsterVerse that they set up. Um, which what's crazy is that Kong Skull Island was originally just gonna be Kong Skull Island and Godzilla 2014 were supposed to be two separate universes. Alright, Kong is in his own continuity in his own universe while Godzilla was in another. But then they decided but then Legendary decided to just put the two worlds together, have Kong Skull Island be part of the same universe as Godzilla, introduced that yeah, they're both interconnected. The most recent movie that came out was in 2023 with or 2022 or 20, I think it was 2020. No, it was 2024. It kicked off with 2024's Godzilla X Kong, a New Empire. But the newer movie that's coming out is gonna be Godzilla X Kong Supernova, which a lot of people theorize that Space Godzilla, which a lot of people theorize that, and I think it has been confirmed that Space Godzilla could actually make an appearance in the movie. If not, and maybe perhaps maybe Gigan as well, but Gigan is more of a theory. Is less a theory. It's less what people hope could happen. Gigan being in the movie, but or at least introduced in the MonsterVerse. But Space Godzilla, in a way, has been confirmed, but not. I don't think officially, but there have been leaks that mention Space Godzilla is going to be in the movie. The movie's supposed to come out next year, and from what I hear, I think they just started filming, which a lot of people were hyped about. Um, but yeah, it all started with Godzilla 2014, and then you get yeah, it all started with Godzilla 2014. They also did a series featuring they also did a Monarch series, which um I don't think I mentioned. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned it. I'll just bring it up right now. So, which follows the organization that's supposed to be monitoring all these titans, which the organization tried keeping hidden, but after the events of 2014's Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters, I think right after Godzilla King of the Monsters, that's when it's been put out there to the world that yeah, monsters exist. There's a and after Godzilla versus Kong, it's been confirmed that the Hollow Earth does exist. I don't know if I'm gonna mention. I'll just save it. If not, if I don't see it anywhere, then I'll just mention it once I'm finished with this. But or if not, then maybe when I refine it. But yeah, the MonsterVerse, it's this interconnected universe featuring Kong and Godzilla monsters, but a lot of other original monsters that they both face off, which has become successful. And I guess in a way, they're in their own Showa era right now, seeing like you watch Godzilla X Kong, you watch the New Empire, and that's when you start seeing Baron's era Showa era right now. The goofiness of everything, but it's still fun. It was still a fun movie. I do recommend it. Next one, and this one is actually supposed to be true. This one is true actually. Gojira was an anti-nuclear what go Godzilla was anti-nuclear warfare. Basically, what this is saying is that Godzilla, or the original 1954 Godzilla movie, is supposed to be an anti-war film, or an anti-nuclear warfare movie, or anti-nuke movie. And basically, in the original movie, it takes place after the bombing of Hiroshima, after the nuke tests, which lead into the creation of Godzilla and and um really that's the whole premise, right? Godzilla being created by this, and of course it's become that massive lesson that Godzilla puts out there, where he's basically a figure. He's basically in a way, Godzilla, or at least the original one, or I think Godzilla as a whole, is a symbol of what happens if nukes are used, nuclear nukes, you know. In a way it's supposed to be anti-nuclear warfare, um, because it leads into the creation of Godzilla. In a way, Godzilla is death itself. All right, it's the nuke itself created. All right, it's almost like It's almost like its grandchild. It's almost like its child. All right, and that's always the scariest thing because the people in that movie, they were obviously supposed to they suffered enough, but seeing that giant monster coming out that was created, they seeing a nuclear monster coming out of the sea, all created by the nuclear tests. Um, that's where that's where they're more scared, because it's like they're watching a living bomb. All right, a creation of the mutations, the radiation caused by the nuclear tests. Okay, and we're all scared because it's not because Godzilla isn't just a walking radioactive dinosaur. All right, he is legit a walking nuclear bomb. Right, that and because of Godzilla versus Destroyer, it goes back to that, and it's like, can you imagine if this guy does just holds all that radiation and allows himself to absorb all of it? All right, tons of radiation without ever letting it out. That's where he becomes a giant walking nuke. All right, at some point he could just explode, and it'll be a travesty. All right. So, and this is something that I definitely believe. I believed Gojira, the original Godzilla 1954 movie, was an anti-nuclear warfare film, right? Because of that whole thing, and also because of the timing, because it did come out during a time when people were scared of or people, or I think the bombings were in 19 in the 40s, right? Um, yeah, they were done, I think, around the 1940s or 50s. Yeah, 1945, and that leads up to 1945, with the nuclear tests. That leads up to that ends up leading up to the 1954 movie where Godzilla has grown, he's mutated, he has grown, and yeah, you know, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to take place around that time. The 1954 movie, I think it's supposed to take place around this time. Um, And that's what I'm saying. Like, it took place around that time, and it's supposed to be like this anti-war film, which is really depressing. Really, a lot of depressing scenes in that movie. And I'll be honest with you, I have not seen the original Gojira movie. Not King of the don't. And the thing is, don't confuse Godzilla King of the original Godzilla King of the Monsters with Godzilla or Gojira from 1954, because those two are two different are they're both the same film, but King of the Monsters, it's supposed to be like this documentary as told by an American, all right? While the original and that one, it does actually cut out some scenes, supposedly because it showed like propaganda. It's supposed to be propaganda or something like that. There was a reason why, and I think it was related to propaganda, and um, and they did include, I think, a few new scenes, but usually the few new scenes are from this American interviewing the Japanese about their experience with the monster. All right. Um, but the original Godzilla film, it's everything intact, right? Except that one goofy scene, except this one scene where I guess Godzilla was supposed to be shown eating a cow, but I guess it looked a little too big, and it I guess the cow looked the prop used as a for the cow that Godzilla supposed to eat, it looked a little too big, and it did make Godzilla look a little more smaller than what he really was. But overall, though, that's good. That's Gojira. That's this section. Gojira, being an anti-nuclear warfare movie. Um, Next one, we go into the Godzilla anime trilogy. Um, so back in like I think 2018 to 2020 or 2021, Netflix released a trilogy of Godzilla films. Um, that also 2018? There's no way. I thought. Oh, huh. I thought it got real. I thought the last one's a Godzilla Planet Year. I thought that was released back in 2020, 2019. Okay, well that's some new information. But going back to what the anime trilogy is, Godzilla's the anime trilogy, the animated Godzilla trilogy. The anime keeps saying various names. My bad. Um, it's supposed to be. It's supposed. It was as you guys can see, Netflix released a trilogy of Godzilla anime films between 2017 and 2018, which is um which is supposed to be focused on humans leaving Earth because Godzilla took over and various because Godzilla took over, he became like this. Yeah, Godzilla took over along with various monsters, and it led to the humans believing that the Earth became uninhabitable because of these monsters, and so they leave. I From what's described, 1,000 years later, all right, I saw it right there. 1,000 years later, they go back to see a team goes back to see if it's habitable now. By this point, the entire planet has been taken over by monsters, right? Godzilla, though, he's become massive. He's become as big as a mountain, all right? Um, a lot of fans gave him the name Godzilla Earth because of how large he became. Basically, he's the largest Godzilla to date. All right. He is the largest Godzilla in the entire franchise because, as I said, he is as big as a mountain. I think there's a moment where they show you how big he really is. Yeah, like you see it right there. He's bigger. Yeah, this art should show you. He doesn't look that big, but he's humongous. Um, and yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how big he is. Compare him to a mountain, he's almost the size of the Eiffel Tower. He's as big. Oh damn. Okay, this thing is kind of scary. The more I'm looking at it, it's like, dude, holy crap, 300 meters tall. Holy crap. Ugh. Nah, I'd be out of there too. I swear, if you, I could just be walking on top of a mountain without ever knowing I'm walking on top of Godzilla. Like I would be considered an ant, like a small ant. We're supposed compared to Godzilla's. Usually, we're either small ants or little bugs. All right, Godzilla Earth. We're like a tiny ant. We're literally that. Hell, maybe even I don't even know how to describe it, but he's that big. Holy crap! Finding out about this, I'm I remember he's supposed to be the tallest, but just researching it, I'm like, damn, I could never. I'd leave Earth too. But going back to what I'm talking about, all right. The humans come a team of humans come back to Earth to check if it's habitable. As I said, Godzilla became humongous. He grew, all right. Um, and what is it? And as I said, the entire Earth got taken over by monsters, and we're trying to find a way to just kill Godzilla. All right, I haven't seen the first film. I haven't seen the second film either. But the second film, I think I have a bit of an idea of what happens in it. I think, but the third one I've seen, and yeah, yeah, it's like damn. Um, I I know that that's kind of the plot of what the city on or no Godzilla Planet of the Monsters. That's kind of the summary of what the first film is. All right, why I mentioned the humans go back to see if it's habitable, and we're trying to find a way to kill Godzilla. City on edge of battle. Um, we're still trying to find ways, but they end up finding out that there's a colony of humans that have created a city that's built on top of Mechagodzilla, right? Mechagodzilla, though, I'll be honest with you, I was not a fan of his design. I was not a fan of his design because of how everything looked. Like, look at this thing. Like I know Mechagodzilla is supposed to look unique in various forms, but like this does not. This is not it. I swear. I think this version of Mechagodzilla, yeah. I think he's still small. I think Mechagodzilla here is still a little is actually smaller than Godzilla Earth. So yeah, it's like a puppy fighting one of the biggest dogs on Earth. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So Mechagodzilla in this movie is a city. I guess it's called Mechagodzilla City in the movie, and I'm not sure what happens. That's as far as I know. Like I know that there is a fight between Mechagodzilla and Godzilla, but I think Godzilla ends up destroying Mechagodzilla. And in that movie, Godzilla Earth does become Burning Godzilla, which I think it looks cool. Which I think it looks cool. But um, as I said though, I don't know what else happens in that movie. All I know is that they discovers a city. They find out the city is actually um is a giant robot, which is Mechagodzilla, and yeah, yeah, that's all I know. All right. I guess they were trying to lure him into something so that they could try and destroy him, but it ends up turning him into this. So yeah, didn't go as planned. While Godzilla Planet Eater on their quest to or on the main character's quest to try and fight Godzilla to finally get rid of him, he comes across a cult, right? Now, at first they seem like a colony of people that are like trying to but also find ways to kill Godzilla. At the same time, he doesn't realize that they're part of a cult which worships Ghidorah, which in this version, um, Ghidorah is like this spiritual being from another universe, all right, from an alternate dimension. This is how he supposedly looks. This is how he supposedly looks with the original design and all that, but in the movie, all you ever see is just silhouettes, as far as I remember. This right here, this is how Ghidorah looks. All right, the three heads are separate, and they come out of different portals, and they're untouchable by Godzilla. All right, I think what they're trying to, I think from what I remember, they're trying to lift him into their world, so possibly they could eat him. But as I said, Godzilla isn't able to touch them. All right, he's not able to touch them. He's not able to like do any form of damage to them. They're literally ghosts. They're literally spirits, right? And eventually, our main character, before our main character, he's trying to like he freaks out. He's like, oh no, because these things require a sacrifice. The cult members they sacrifice themselves to this to Ghidorah, and that's where it leads to him getting out. Right, Ghidorah is the main character is trying to find a way to be able to at least stop Ghidorah. Right, seeing that this thing is called the Planet Eater. Eventually though, he does find a way to at least make Ghidorah have a physical form, right? Which leads into Godzilla managing to put the or yeah, he ends up being able to like kill off the three heads and also to close off the portals that they came from, which is like yeah. Yeah, this thing is pretty scary. Like he's just as big. It's almost like and when he comes out, it's almost like when the heads come out, it's almost like it's like an endless body, right? Each the three heads have like an endless body, which is crazy. It's like, damn, either they're really big or they're like endless creatures. So yeah, it's pretty crazy though. Mothra does Anna make an appearance, but it's mostly in just hallucinations and dreams. Eventually, though, the main character, he's like, he ends up accepting that Godzilla can't really be killed, and if they do try to kill him, it's just gonna cause even more problems. All right, like what happened right here. He ends up accepting it, and I guess in the last way, and in the last ditch effort to, I guess, kill him, even though he doesn't do anything, even though it doesn't do anything to Godzilla. Um, he ends up flying his plane. He ends up flying his jet in directly at Godzilla and killing himself. And I guess one of the love interests, I don't know what happened. I think she was on the verge of dying or something. Which, if she wasn't, I was like, dude, this guy just brought her to die with him. Like, no, dude, come on, man, come on. Um, but yeah, he ends up committing a kamikaze on Godzilla, which doesn't do anything, but he ends up accepting the fact that yeah, we can't kill him, and if we did, it'll cause even more problems. So yeah, at the end of the day, our main character he ends up dying. Um, and I guess. What I think of the movies, it's been a while since what I think of the movies, well, I don't even know. Godzilla the Planet Eater, I guess I thought it was cool, but I forgot about that movie. I completely forgot about that movie. The other two films I haven't seen. I went directly to the last one and I was like, huh, this is pretty cool. Um, but yeah. The movies, the trilogy though, they didn't really get good reviews. I guess people there were people that thought the first one was good, but or was actually or may at, at least from what I hear, the first one was at least better than the next two. All right, the first one people didn't like it, but it did gain favorable reviews that it made it become better than the other two movies. I'm not sure though. Um, I'm not too sure about that though, but that's as far as I know. The other movies they didn't do well. No, people didn't like them. Um, they were kind of let down. They were let downs. Um, yeah. Well, I don't know if would watch them. I don't think so. But yeah, that's a Godzilla anime trilogy. The next one is a 2005 King Kong remake. That one. Now this is the one that I grew up on. All right, this one introduced me and possibly other people to King Kong and the franchise. But um, the King Kong 2005 remake was directed by by Peter Jackson, my bad. Not Steven Spielberg or Steven, yeah, not Steven Spielberg. It was by Peter Jackson. Um, the movie came out back in 2005, back in Christmas 2005, which I'm like, damn, I'm older than this movie. And Peter Jackson directed it. The movie was actually good. The movie was good. It did well at the box office. It gained really good reviews. It gained good reviews. A lot of people did enjoy it. I enjoyed it too. I loved it. I'm pretty sure in the second part I did bring up about a Beauty and the Beast story that happens in it. In the 1976 one introduces it. The 2005 one it leans heavily onto it, and they do more with Anne and Kong than any of the other movies. And uh, I mean, from what I've seen of the 1976 one, I think Duane does, you know, she does try and comfort Kong when they're in the city, but it's really weird. That one was really weird. All I know is that it's a very, very weird scene. And this one though, they actually do well. I think Peter Jackson really did good with the dynamic between Anne and Kong. It wasn't weird and she wasn't scared. She was scared of him at first, but eventually he grew into him and they both grew comfortable. He became less of like this aggressive gorilla and became more of like this more sympathetic gorilla that is actually alone, right? The last of his species. And um she provides that comfort for him, right? He obviously gets pissed if anything if anything if he sees that there's something going on. And yeah, in City he it's really, I already know. I don't really want to spoil this movie too much. I already did love it. I want you guys to watch it. Like, I highly recommend it. It's a really great movie. Um, there was also a tie-in game, which I'll be honest with you, that game was scary. Like, it feels like it's a horror survival game on the Jack sections. While for the Kong sections, I haven't even gone to that part yet. But from the looks of it right there, from the looks of some of the gameplay that I saw, the Kong sections looked like they were more beat 'em up. They're more action beat 'em up styled. While the Jack sections, it's more just survival. You're just trying to survive from everything that's happening. It follows the same plot of the movie, and as I mentioned in the first part, it does have the alternate ending where Kong lives. Right, you play as Jack, and you're able to shoot down the planes, and from there you're able to get Kong out of the city and back to his homeland in Skull Island. All right. Um. uh, what else to mention about this movie? Oh, and also, all I'm gonna say right now is that if you're not a fan of bugs, I'm sorry to say, but this there is a bug scene in this movie. Like, in case if you guys have like insectophobia or anything like that, I'm gonna have to say that this movie does show bugs. All right, there's like this one weird scene where it's like, and she's trying to hide from a giant lizard thing, from a giant lizard, and she goes into a log, and all of a sudden this centipede. This thing is long. This thing is like big. It's kind of big, but it's long as well. All right. Okay, pause. This thing is this thing is big, and it's like it crawls down to her, and she's like freaked out. She's like frozen in fear, and it's like it looks like it has its things. It has its antennas going over to her. You get a close up of that thing, and it's like disgusting. And I guess Rose and Nosabrow is about to crawl up on her, and she ends up freaking out and gets out. And I'm like, dude, that in my opinion, it's such a weird scene. It's like, ew, why you gotta. I swear, Peter Jackson has a thing for horror movies, and I swear, I have not. Like, there's a fantastical vision to that he has, but it's also like there's horror elements, but I think, in my opinion, it makes him unintentionally a horror director. All right. Look, it's so weird just being in my scene. And there's also another scene where there's one part where it it's the iconic log scene, right? Which has been featured in all iteration or in all three iterations of the King Kong story, right? The original 1933 movie has a log scene where where the men are trying to like get to the other side, but they end up getting but Kong stops them, and we're trying to go back, but or at least what's being told. Ooh. Right, I'll get into that. But Kong is like he throws them off the bridge. He throws them off the log. A lot of men end up falling, and they all die. Right, or yeah, a lot of men end up. All the men except Jack and I guess Carl Denham. They in the 1933 one, right? They end up falling to their deaths into the pit. Right, getting eaten by whatever's down there. Right. Um the 1976 one, that one it feels straightforward in my it's the same thing, right? Except this time the log is over a ravine rather than like a pit, right? Alright, the man it's the same thing. It's almost the same thing except I don't think Carl Denham is in the 1976 one. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. Is he in it? My curiosity has peaked. Robert Armstrong. I don't think he's in it. Oh, put in 1973, and I've been saying 1973. I mean 1976. Okay, so yeah, he's not in it. Damn. But either way, though, I guess Jack is in it. Is his name Jack? Because I swear the 1976 one has a lot of changes, although being a similar story. Although a similar story, it has a lot of changes in it. Okay, so his name is Jack Prescott, still being called Jack School. Okay, yeah, as I said, holy, there's a lot of changes in that movie. I don't know if I'll be used to it. You know what? If I watch it, I think I'll get used to it. The 1976 one was such a weird movie. It's so weird because because they use a suit motion. There's this weird scene where I guess I s- I don't even know if I should even describe it, but it's this weird scene where I guess um Dwayne and Kong get a little intimate. He's trying to get intimate with her. She's nervous and he's like fiddling with the clothes. It's really weird. Ah, my God. Like I know in the 1933 one there is a moment where where Kong does take off Anne's clothes and is but he's not like he's just taking them off like a banana. Comparing it to a banana peel is crazy. All right, he's like, but it's legit bad. He's peeling her clothes, some pieces of her clothing off like it's a banana peel, and she of course freaks out. While in the 1976 one, she sees right. She's looking at what he's doing, like he's just like, it's so weird. It's like circling around her body. I'm just slowly peeling each piece off, and it's like really weird before they end up getting attacked by giant anaconda. But it's like such a weird scene, right? But in the 2005 King Kong movie, they do not do that. No, no, they do not have anything like that at all. The main focus was the whole Beauty and the Beast story aspect, which I can't constantly mention. I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself, but it's literally bad. There's no weird scenes. It's really some emotional moment and beautiful moments between Anne and Kong, right? You see their dynamic changing. Like she's warming up to him, he's warming up to her, and sees her as like his source of comfort, right? Which I think is fine. Which I think is cute. Um, but going back to the log scene, as I said, the 1976 one, Jack manages to, or he's able to, get to the other side, but just like in the original movie, but the other men they end up falling to their deaths. Yeah, because they end up falling from their they fall to their deaths into the ravine, and yeah, it's a pretty dark end. It's a pretty dark way to die, but that's what happens. In the 2005 one though, all the men that are there, they're either dead from getting from falling or they're alive, but either way, though, including Jack, he ends up going. Every man, including Jack, fall into the pit. Right, and that pit, though, man, unlike the 1933 one, which had a spider pit. Right, there was supposedly a spider pit, which I'll talk about. I'll talk about in a bit, which I'll talk about once I get to it. But there was a pit that was not included. Supposedly it was scrapped, but then there are other sources saying that it was never filmed to begin with, just test shots. In that one, um, which Peter Jackson, he did go on to do a recreation of it. It's different, but it's still what could have been. Right, the men after getting thrown off, they survive. Right, but they end up getting eaten. But they each get eaten by four different creatures. Right, one of them is killed. One of them is eaten by a spider. The other two were attacked by crab. One is attacked by some sort of crustacean, It's like a crab thing or a spider crab with yes, it's like a spider crab. The other is attacked by a large lizard, and the last one he's killed by a giant tentacle worm. All right, which it's pretty brutal. You guys can search it up, but it's a pretty brutal scene. Um, he also decided Peter Jackson also went on to include it in the 2005 remake where what is it where where the entire pit is just a spider pit, right? It's an insect pit. And I swear if you the entire scene you're seeing all the you're seeing some of the men getting killed by some of the creatures by some of the bugs or just getting attacked, right? Um there's like Andy Serkis's character, who's called Lumpy. He ends up getting eaten by worms, by these mudworm things, and everyone else is like there's like these there's like it's a creature called Wetarex. It's like it's I think we're called Wetarexes, but but if you guys know what a Weta looks like. So it's basically those, but much bigger, right? The Weta is very like big, big things. They're like crickets, but not exactly crickets. They're like pretty big, though. But in the 2005 remake, they're like huge, right? Um, there's also like spiders, insects, crustaceous like creatures. You know, spiders with crab thing with arm with the pincers. Um, all that, and it's like, holy crap! It's like a whole scene where we're all getting attacked. Eventually, Jack, Carl, and this one other character, they end up surviving. They end up getting rescued by some of the other men that decide to stay behind, that decide to go in and help them out, check up on them, see if they're okay, and they end up getting rescued by them. But yeah, but yeah, just to warn you guys, for any of you insectophobes out there, the 2005 King Kong remake does have moments with insects, and it's really creepy. It's really disturbing, especially that entire insect scene. Nah, I could never. I could never. Send me to a Nah. If I have to deal with that, send me to a mental hospital. After the whole experience, just send me to a mental hospital. Send me to therapy so I could get hypnotized. So I could get lobotomized so I don't have to remember that whole entire incident. Such a disturbing scene. But yeah, that's King Kong 2005. If you guys want to watch it, I do recommend it though. I do recommend it. Really recommend it. The next one that we have is gonna be Shimo. Shimo is a monster that was introduced in Godzilla X Kong: A New Empire. Um, she is basically she is she's like this large creature that has to do that has the ability to cause ice breath. Right? She has an ice breath ability, and supposedly, and from what's mentioned in the movie, she's also the reason why the ice age happened. Right? Her breath is so powerful that it can cause ice ages. It can cause snowstorms and possibly another ice age. She is not the villain of the movie. She is actually being controlled by this giant ape right here, whose name is Skarking, who uses this special crystal to as a way to kind of force her to do his bidding. Right, whoever he wants killed, she tries to. There are moments where she does try to resist it, but he's like whatever he's doing to make that thing light up, it's causing her massive pain, and of course she has to submit to it. She looks like a. I'll be honest with you. When I saw her design, especially when she's standing up like this, she almost reminded me of like a giant polar, almost like a bear, almost like a giant polar bear, and how they stand up on their hind legs. She is actually much bigger than Kong. Right, as you guys can see right here, she's much bigger than Kong. She's also much bigger than Godzilla. She and she's also she's also considered to be the mother of the Titans. She's also given the name of being the mother of the Titans. Unlike Godzilla and Mothra, who are called the king of the monsters, Shimo is actually the mother of the Titans. She's actually much bigger in that movie. She's actually much bigger, and if she was standing up on her hind legs, she'd be massive, really, like a bear, and how they're much more bigger when they're standing on their hind legs. In a way, you could say that she's like a polar bear. But I think I like her. But me personally, I like her design. I like how cool. I like the spikes, and really, I like the spikes and everything that goes along with it. I think it really does fit. There were some concept art that lean heavily onto a more crocodilian um like head, but yeah, like this one, but as you guys can see, this just doesn't look good. I guess there was also moments where I guess she'll have also had like icicles under her chin, but as I said, so I like the final head design better. Because a crocodilian design is like there should be more concept art. Alright, well, either way though, this is one piece of concept art which is like I'm not really too big on. I'm not really a fan of. But yeah, that's Shimo. Um, she is the mother of the Titans. She has an ice breath that's so powerful that it can cause another ice age. And it's also able to it's also able to freeze her enemies. Um, which yeah, that's with a power like that, I could see why she's called the mother of the Titans, right? And the thing about her is that it also leads into this one other theory where there most likely were other Titans like her, not like her species. Maybe there was more, but I don't know. I don't know about that. No one knows about that. Maybe she might be the only one of her kind. Maybe there was a whole species. But what I'm trying to bring up right now is that there might actually be much more. There might actually be a lot more Titans similar to her that may or may not still be alive. Much bigger, most likely. Able to cause heavier, heavier, heavier catastrophes. May have abilities that could deal with the weather, or that could cause climate changes or any form of weather changes. Um, and also what's mentioned is that what's theorized is that she might have also been. I think it's what's been theorized at first until I think it was confirmed that she was that I don't know if it's true or not, but someone posted that there was like redacted text in some of the newspapers which mentioned that Shimo might have actually been at odds with Ghidorah, and she was the one who locked him up in the ice prison, who froze him in Antarctica, and because of that, she might have also caused another ice age. But she might have been the reason why the ice age happened. But that's just a theory. But that's what's supposedly been confirmed. But just take that with a grain of salt. The next one is basically from me. It's Destroyer Ghidorah, and I think from what I can remember, it was for this one. It was more like a discussion on who is really Godzilla's most fiercest ally or most fiercest enemy, and it was either between Destroyer or Ghidorah. It's not really a debate or anything like that someone made up. It was more like me coming up with this, where it's like who's who's really Godzilla's arch nemesis, that could actually go toe to toe with him. Ghidorah or Destroyer, because Destroyer, he went toe to toe with him, and I don't know why I was on, but this was an iceberg that I made a long time ago. All right, Destroyer could have been Destroyer, he could have been he basically caused Godzilla's death, but either way, he caused Godzilla's death, but he wasn't the direct cause of it. But he was a menace though. Ghidorah though, it's on-site rivalry, I swear. Um, I'm not sure why I made this, but I think it was just that who really is Godzilla's fiercest enemy? Destroyer or Ghidorah? Me personally, I definitely think it's Ghidorah because I think Destroyer. I mean, despite what he could do, he still got. I think he's Godzilla still managed to beat him. Ghidorah though, it's like he needs someone else to help him. All right. And if it depending on the environment, he could either be and if he's in water, it's like Ghidorah's pretty screwed. But other than that though, he's still able to like go toe to toe with Godzilla. So I still think Ghidorah is still I think Ghidorah is still Godzilla's enemy, fiercest enemy. Next one is Godzilla 98, and this one is supposed to be bringing up the 1998 Godzilla movie, which I think I did mention a bit of it during the last part where with Godzilla's the animated series. Um was it right after I think right after the release of the 19 of the right after the release of Godzilla vs. Destroyer, which was supposed to be Toho's last Godzilla movie before they handed over the rights um to America for us to make a Godzilla movie. We ended up making Godzilla in 1998, which um which ended up becoming the worst Godzilla movie in the entire franchise. Although it did gain cult status, more as being a good monster movie, but it's just not a good Godzilla movie. The design though, people were I think it really depends, alright? People did like there are people that do like the design and there's others that don't like the design. I'm personally one of those that does like the design. Alright. Um yeah, so as I said, the movie ended up becoming ended up bombing at the box office, and this led to Toho having to take the rights back from America. So, and all of that leads into the Millennium era Godzilla movies, which wasn't even supposed to happen in the first place. It was supposed to be that, all right. We got the rights. We made the Godzilla movie and most likely continued the franchise in America. While Toho most likely at some point they could have they made more movies or stuff related to Godzilla later on, but this movie was supposed to spawn a franchise. It was supposed to spawn a franchise of its own, but it didn't because of its box office. Because of it doing poorly at the box office and with audiences, it just the franchise never happened. But very something I want to say is that without the 1998 movies, without the 1998 movie bombing at the box office, without the failure of the 1998 movie, we wouldn't have the Millennium fans will not have the Millennium era Godzilla movies. We wouldn't have Godzilla as a series, and we wouldn't have the MonsterVerse. So it's kind of a butterfly effect if you think about it. None of that would have happened if Godzilla 98 did succeed. Um, but there is actually history with Godzilla 1998 though. There is actually it did have a bit of a troubling do I mention it? Okay, yeah, I do mention it. It did okay. So it did have it did have a bit of a troubled production history because this wasn't the only because the 1998 Godzilla movie wasn't the first time America tried to do a Godzilla movie an American Godzilla movie. There was supposed to be one that's called Godzilla 3D, but that never happened. Alright, it was supposed to be like this 3D Godzilla movie, but as I said, it never happened. There was another one that was supposed to happen in 1994, but same thing, that one never happened. But it did lead into 98, right? Now, which I am gonna talk about a lot more in here because it is because the story that really depends that's really all up to you to determine, but the 94 Godzilla movie sounded like it could have been a good one. It could have been better, especially with the design they wanted to go with. Um, but yeah, that's Godzilla 98. That's Godzilla 98. Next one is Godzilla Battle Line, which is basically what you see right here. This was during the Ultraman Godzilla event. So Godzilla Battle Line was actually released, was actually one of the was actually one of Toho's planned mobile games that got released back in 2021, along with two others in that same year. The first one was I think it was called Go Godzilla. Yeah, I think it was called Go Godzilla, and it was like this low poly. It was like this weird Godzilla Tomodachi kind of game where was it called Go Godzilla? I don't even know. But it was like this it was like this weird game where you're raising your own Godzilla or Godzilla monster and you're just having it do wait, oh, okay. Okay, so it's basically this. So Run Godzilla. It's basically a game where you're raising your own Godzilla or Godzilla monster, I think, and it's you're just taking care of it. It's really just that. I haven't played it myself, but I remember hearing about this and looking at it, I was like, what the hell kind of game is this? Like it didn't like it would I'm not gonna say that for a like it didn't look good. It didn't look good in my opinion. It looked pretty goofy and low poly in my opinion, but I think that's what they want to go for. Like this is how it looked. It didn't look good though. I did yeah like it's just oh my god. Here's gameplay of this. Like you're making your own and you're just doing mini games. Maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't, but but event later they would end up releasing Godzilla Destruction, which was one of those mobile games where you're using one virtual joystick to move Godzilla around, and all you're just doing is just destroying cities, doing whatever you can to rack up points, and I think you're also fighting. I don't know if you're fighting other monsters, but you were definitely you're definitely having to just destroy cities and everything you can with Godzilla. Why as I said, racking up points. Um, I don't think that one did well, but it did actually. I think it did fairly better than Run Godzilla. And then there's Godzilla Battle Line, which I think in my opinion it was better than the other two, which is let me see right here, and what you see on right here. This game, Godzilla Battle Line, was a Clash Royale style game where you're using units to where you and your opponent are using units to try and take each other's leaders down, all right? You're not you know, your leaders have health I mean, obviously they have health bars, but one thing is that unlike Clash Royale where you have two towers that you have to destroy, you and you you're mainly focused on trying to defend your leader, who has its own attacks of its own and effects. Um, Yeah. All right. So as I was saying, yeah, Godzilla Battleline was like this Clash Royale style game where instead of but instead of having towers that you have to protect along with with the king, your main focus is on the king, right? And the king has its own has their and every leader has their own every monster or leader has their own unique abilities that could buff your units. Every monster or most monsters have their own abilities that could help that could help either debuff your opponent's units or buff your own units, whether it's by speed or strength. But um, but out of the three games, Godzilla Battle Line was the only one that really did succeed, and it did end up eventually Godzilla Destruction and Run Godzilla did end up getting taken off of game stores. With only Godzilla Battle Line being left because of its success. I still play to this day, but golly, they have a lot of monsters in it, and I wish I did not sleep on it because it's like at some point I just slowly stopped playing the game. Um, Eventually when I got back to it, a lot of monsters were added, and people have gone stronger. And it's like, yeah, I start leveling up, gotta start grinding. But yeah, that's Godzilla Battle Line. Um, Banber's Hanna. We're gonna go on to the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla. So basically, the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla is the first Godzilla animated series in the series. It is actually the very first Godzilla cartoon, which Toho still acknowledges. They actually acknowledge it more than the Godzilla the series. But yeah, this is Godzilla right here. He doesn't in the show. The series is kind of like it's it has the same plot as Godzilla's the series in as the 1998 Godzilla's the series. It has the same plot where there are humans and Godzilla are trying to stop various monsters. Um And as you guys can see, the colors of Godzilla does not look like him, but I think it's actually based more on the original posters for Gojira, which did have Godzilla having like this looking design, but mostly the green texture design that he has. Um, and Yeah, it has the same base. It has the same plot as the series. There are humans and Godzilla. Godzilla is trying to is in a way he's almost like fighting other monsters by causing trouble. The humans are also trying to stop whoever, bad guys, whether it's humans or aliens. I think there were aliens in the series. I don't know, but yeah, there is a lot to go off of. A lot of this a lot of monsters that do come from this series, they're all originals though. They're all original. So if you're expecting any character like Gigan or Megalon, you're not gonna see them. You're not gonna see them. All the monsters are completely original. Um alongside with the humans, there's also Godzuki. I think his name is Godzuki, but it's like this little dude right here. He's supposed to be the common in Hanna-Barbera style. In the Hanna-Barbera style of things, they included Godzuki as the goofy lovable, as a goofy, lovable comedic relief character. Um, and he works with he's with the humans. He's with the humans, and he's kind of like the guy that they use. He's basically the thing that they use to lure Godzilla, um, to bring in Godzilla or to lure Godzilla when there's trouble. And y- and really, there's not much towards him. He does have wings though. He does have under wings though. But mostly he's just there for being comedic relief, and I guess from out here he mostly just jumps off. He's mostly like a he mostly just tumbles and all that. Um, the series was, I think, from, I don't know if it's true now, but I think the series was good. But the only problem was because of Godzuki. So like, hold up, what did people think of Godzuki? I forgot. Remember me? Yeah, let me just use a wiki because I don't even know who this thing is. I have not seen. Yeah, I think I've seen it only once or twice. I definitely know there's an episode I see in its completely where Godzilla ends up getting shrunk down, and the humans are trying to find a way to bring him back to size, but he ends up like being like, nah, what the heck, and he's like fighting all this smaller stuff. Um, yeah, so he has wings. He's supposed to be based on Godzuki. Uh, really just a standard dragon. Um, he can breathe fire when he is strong enough. Wait, Godzilla. Wait, Godzilla has a nephew? Okay. Many Many fans wonder if, since Godzilla is supposedly Godzuki's uncle, then Godzilla may have a brother and or sister. Although the show never says anything about him having one. It is more likely, however, that the term nephew is used figuratively, with no actual blood relation between the monsters. It is likely the two are of different species, as Godzuki can fly, though it is possible that they can, while younger, and lose the ability to do so as they mature. Okay, I didn't. Godzilla's in one universe. Godzilla is an uncle. That's crazy. Alright, kids love Godzilla, right? However, apparently broadcast standard practices weren't too interested in Samurai Curry, in which the giant monster was torching cars and knocking down buildings. The producers were forced to water down the violence, inherent. The producers were forced to water down the violence inherent to Godzilla's whole deal so the series could be even aired, leaving a barely recognizable green laser in place of the terrifying being audience had come to love. What could have saved the Godzilla anime series, man? What but a bumbling sidekick that added comedic relief by causing more problems than the actual villains? A As I said, classic Hanna-Barbera fashion, always gotta include goofy characters. Uh Nah, he's just chilling. Nagato was just chilling. He'd be like my uncle. He's like, okay, okay. So yeah, that's Godzuki, which I think nowadays people just I think in a way Godzuki was, unlike Manila and Godzilla Jr. Godzuki, I think people seeing that he caused more problems rather than solutions. I don't even know about that. That was written by an article. All I know is that from people have said all he just does is fumble around. That's all he does. But I don't know. I gotta watch the series for myself. But I guess I'll take her word for it because it's Hanna Barbera. You include a cute what's supposed to be the cute comedic relief character. Bro, of course gonna be bumbling. Bro, of course gonna be falling and flopping around, whatever it is. So obviously, yeah. And also, as it's mentioned, and as you've been seeing, Godzilla does not have the atomic breath. The Hanna-Barbera Godzilla does not have atomic breath. He just has fire breath. So, yeah. But funny enough though, Toho still manages to acknowledge this series. They still continue to acknowledge it. I remember, yeah, I remember there was one point in time where where anytime it came from Toho, any post on Insta that came from Toho, it had to do with this. It had to be referencing Godzilla, this Hanna Barbera Godzilla version, and no mentions of the Godzilla as a series, the sequel series to the 1998 movie. But yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much all I can really say about the series. It was made by Hanna-Barbera, and I think it ran for 2 or 3 seasons before ending, and the rest is history. Although I think you guys have seen, they did make a bit of fan. There are people that have made fan art featuring Godzilla Jr. and the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla Jr. from the series and the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla going at each other, which, you know, I think that's cool. I think I'm like that's reasonable. That'd be an interesting fight. And it's kind of interesting though because the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla and the animated Godzilla sequel series, it's interesting because Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, it's described as to be a much it's I guess from what's described, it was much more watered down. Although there are monster fights, it's mostly just there really isn't much destruction from Godzilla's side. He's mostly just a guy that ends up destroying things on accident. He's not destroying any things on purpose, I but like both of the series, um, but yeah, he's mostly just dealing with the monsters really that the team encounters. But with the fights, it's like most likely it's just them tossing each other or Godzilla using his fire breath. While the one is an anime series, they actually do go deep with the violence. They actually do go deep with the violence. Sometimes even some of the monsters possibly or Godzilla having to bite on them or just throwing shade on them and all that. Or and also using his atomic breath, sometimes even trying to drown them, bring them underwater to try and drown them and fight them under there. Um And I think there were moments where there is blood shown, like Godzilla does, where the series does show that Godzilla does bleed, which is pretty crazy. Which is actually crazy because it's like the Hanna-Barbera series. I don't think they would even go into that. I don't think they did ever go into that. The violence is mostly just tame, while the one in the series, it was like, yeah, you're getting monster fights and a bit and some destruction. So there's that. I think I'm just gonna end it off right here. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna end it off right here because I got like the appointment in like 2 hours, so I'm like, I just want to relax a little. How's that? Going to my room. I'm gonna end it right here. I'm gonna try and continue off. This might end up becoming something where okay, this might end up becoming something where I go into one where it's like every section has its own video. As I'm starting to believe. All right, well, I'm gonna end right here. Peace out, y'all. If y'all enjoyed, You guys can go check out that first part. Um, but otherwise, if you guys want to, you guys can subscribe and all that. Peace out, y'all. Night.